There are moments in life when you can feel the ground shifting beneath your feet, when everything you thought was solid suddenly becomes quicksand. Mine happened on a Tuesday evening at Romano's, the Italian place where Celeste and I had our first official date 8 years ago. I'm 30, work as a software engineer for a mid-sized tech company in Austin, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I had it all figured out. Beautiful wife, decent savings, a 3-bedroom house in Cedar Park with a backyard perfect for kids to run around in. Celeste and I had been trying to get pregnant for 6 months, dutifully following Dr. Martinez's fertility schedule like it was gospel. Temperature checks, ovulation strips, supplements, the whole 9 yards. Celeste is 28, works as a senior designer at a marketing firm downtown, and has always been the more spontaneous one between us. When we met during our senior year at UT, she was the girl who dragged me to underground art shows and convinced me to take salsa dancing lessons. I loved that about her, how she could pull me out of my structured, predictable world. But something had been off these past few weeks. "Babe, do you ever wonder what it would be like to just disappear for a weekend?" she asked one evening while we were meal prepping for the week. "Like just drive somewhere random and be someone completely different?" I laughed, thinking she was just stressed about work. Her agency had been pushing brutal deadlines. "You mean like a spa weekend? We could totally do that after your project wraps up." "No, not like that." She paused, her knife hovering over a bell pepper. "I mean, be someone who doesn't have responsibilities, someone who can make impulsive decisions without thinking about consequences." These comments became more frequent. She'd scroll through Instagram, showing me pictures of her single friends at concerts, traveling solo to Europe, going on spontaneous dates. "Look at Vanessa in Barcelona," she'd say with this wistful tone. "Remember when we could just book a flight on a whim?" I tried to be understanding. We were both feeling the pressure of the fertility treatments, the scheduled intimacy, the mounting expectations from our families about grandkids. Her mom had started knitting baby blankets, for crying out loud. Maybe she just needed reassurance that having kids wouldn't end our adventures together. "Once we have a baby, we can still travel," I'd tell her. "Lots of families do it. We'll just plan differently." But she'd get this distant look, like I wasn't understanding something fundamental. Last Tuesday, I made dinner reservations at Romano's, thinking it would help. We'd been so focused on conception that we'd forgotten to just enjoy each other's company. I wore the blue shirt she always said brought out my eyes. She wore the black dress from our anniversary dinner, the one that made her look devastating. The first hour was perfect. We laughed about a ridiculous client presentation she'd given that day, planned a weekend trip to San Antonio, ordered the tiramisu we'd shared on our first date here. I was thinking about how lucky I was, how we'd look back on this fertility stress and laugh once our kids were running around that backyard. Then she got quiet. "There's something I need to ask you," she said, her fingers twisting her wedding ring. "And I need you to really listen before you react." The restaurant suddenly felt too warm. Her voice had that serious tone she used for big conversations, the one she'd used when she wanted to quit her old job, when we decided to buy the house. "I love you," she continued. "I love our life together, and I want to have babies with you more than anything, but—" That word hung in the air like smoke. Before we take that step, before we become parents and our lives become completely about our children, I need to know something about myself. I need to explore a part of me that I've kept locked away. My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about, Celeste?" She took a shaky breath. "I want one night, just one night to be with someone else, to explore what I've been curious about since we got together so young. I think about it sometimes, and I'm afraid that if I don't deal with this curiosity now, it'll eat at me for the rest of our marriage." The world tilted. The cheerful chatter of other diners became white noise. The smell of garlic bread turned nauseating. "You want to cheat on me?" I said flatly. "I want permission to satisfy a curiosity, so I can move forward with you completely present and committed. One night, Nathan. One night to get this out of my system forever." She reached across the table, but I pulled my hand back instinctively. Her eyes filled with tears. "I know how it sounds," she whispered. but I'd rather be honest about this feeling than let it poison our marriage later. Wouldn't you rather I tell you now than wonder about it for the next 40 years? The drive home was silent, except for the hum of our Honda's engine and the distant sound of my world crashing down. Celeste kept glancing at me, her hands folded in her lap, like a child waiting for punishment. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. "Say something," she finally whispered as we pulled into our driveway. "What do you want me to say?" My voice came out hoarse. "That I'm thrilled my wife wants to fuck someone else?" She flinched. "Nathan, no, let me process this." I turned off the engine but didn't get out. The porch light cast shadows across her face, making her look like a stranger. "You want me to give you permission to cheat? You want me to sit at home while you explore your curiosity with some random guy?" "It's not random," she said quietly. My blood turned to ice. "What?" There's someone at work. Darren from the creative department. We've talked and there's this connection, but I've never acted on it because I'm married to you. I love you, Nathan. That's exactly why I'm being honest instead of just doing it behind your back." I laughed, but it came out bitter and broken. "Oh, how noble of you. So this isn't some abstract fantasy. You've already picked out your affair partner. It's not an affair if you give permission." "Don't." I held up a hand. "Don't try to rationalize this with semantics." We sat in silence for several minutes. Part of me wanted to storm out, file for divorce, and be done with it. But another part, the part that remembered 8 years of love, laughter, and shared dreams, kept me frozen in that driver's seat. "Why?" I finally asked. "What did I do wrong? What am I not giving you?" Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Nothing. You're perfect, Nathan. That's almost the problem. We got together when we were 22. You're the only man I've ever been with, ever loved, ever wanted to build a life with, but sometimes I wonder, what if there's a part of me I never got to explore? What if I'm settling without even knowing it?" Settling. The word tasted like poison. That came out wrong. Did it? "I want to choose you," she said desperately. "But I want to choose you because you're genuinely the best choice, not because you're the only choice I've ever known. One night, Nathan. One night to satisfy this curiosity, and then I can commit to you completely, knowing I explored every part of myself." I stared at our house, the house we'd bought together, painted together, filled with dreams of tiny feet running through the hallways. "And if I say no, then we'll try to move forward, but I can't promise this feeling will just disappear. I can't promise it won't come up again when I'm sleep-deprived with a newborn, when life gets routine, when I start wondering about all the paths I never took." The manipulation was subtle but effective. She was essentially saying our marriage would be poisoned either way unless I gave her this gift. 3 days later, after the worst 72 hours of my life, I found myself sitting across from her at our kitchen table, establishing ground rules like we were negotiating a business contract. "One night only," I said, my voice mechanical. "No contact before or after. I don't want to know details, but I want complete honesty about what happens. And this ends it forever. No more curiosity, no more what-ifs." She nodded eagerly. "Yes, exactly." And we continued trying for a baby afterward like nothing happened. "Like nothing happened," she agreed. "No emotional connection. This is purely physical exploration." Purely physical. I felt like I was signing my soul away. "When?" "This Friday. Darren's band is playing at a venue downtown. I could meet him there, have a few drinks and—" She trailed off. "And sleep with him." Yes. Friday came like a death sentence. Celeste spent an hour getting ready, trying on different outfits like she was going on a first date. She settled on a burgundy dress I'd never seen before. "You bought new clothes for this?" I asked. She blushed. "I wanted to feel confident." "Right, confident, for your night of exploration." At 7 p.m., she kissed my cheek like she was heading to book club. "I'll be back tomorrow morning. I love you, Nathan." I spent the night drinking beer and staring at our wedding photos, wondering how we'd gotten here. Around midnight, I texted her, "You okay?" No response. At 2 a.m., Just want to know you're safe. Nothing. She walked through our front door at 11 a.m. Saturday, her makeup smudged, her hair disheveled, carrying her heels in her hand. She looked like she'd been hit by a truck, but there was something else in her eyes, a brightness I hadn't seen in months. How was book club? I asked dryly. Nathan, did you use protection? Yes. Good, I'm going for a run. I ran 8 miles that day, but I couldn't outrun the image of my wife in another man's arms. The following week felt like living with a ghost who wore my wife's face. Celeste moved through our house with this strange, dreamy energy, humming while she made coffee, smiling at her phone during dinner, floating rather than walking. It was like she'd discovered some secret that made everything else sparkle. When I tried to bring up what happened, she'd deflect with vague platitudes. How do you feel about everything? I asked Tuesday morning as she got ready for work. Good, she said, applying lipstick in the bathroom mirror. Really good, like I can breathe again. And us? How do you feel about us? I feel like I can love you better now. She kissed my cheek, leaving a burgundy mark. Thank you for understanding. Understanding. Right. But something was off beyond her ethereal mood. She'd started putting her phone face down during meals. She'd taken longer lunch breaks, claiming she needed to process and went for walks alone. Most telling of all, she'd stopped mentioning our fertility appointments. Dr. Martinez's office called, I told her Thursday evening. We missed our consultation yesterday. Oh, she looked up from her laptop, genuinely surprised. I completely forgot. Can we reschedule? You forgot about our baby appointment. I've had a lot on my mind lately. Like what? Just life stuff, processing things, you know. I didn't know that was becoming increasingly clear. Friday night, exactly 1 week after her exploration, I suggested we go out to dinner. She declined, saying she needed to stay late at the office to finish a project. When I drove by her building at 9 p.m., the parking lot was empty. I called her cell. Voicemail. Hey, just checking on you. Your office looked pretty dark for someone working late. Call me back. She never did. Saturday morning, I confronted her with bank statements. The Marriott downtown charged our card last Friday night. Thought you went to a bar to meet Darren. Her face went pale. Nathan, you lied to me. You didn't just run into him at some venue. You planned a hotel room. Does it matter? You gave me permission. I gave you permission for 1 night of curiosity, not an orchestrated romantic rendezvous. There's a difference between a drunken mistake and a premeditated affair. She sat down heavily at our kitchen table. You're right. I should have been completely honest about the hotel. What else did you lie about? Nothing else, I swear. But her phone buzzed on the counter, and I saw the name on the screen. Darren. Nothing else? I grabbed the phone before she could reach it. Then why is your coworker texting you, can't wait to see you tonight at 10 a.m. on a Saturday? The color drained from her face completely. Celeste. What the fuck is going on? It's not what you think. Then explain it to me. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like your 1 night of exploration has turned into a full-blown relationship. She started crying, but they weren't the tears of remorse I expected. They looked almost frustrated, like she was angry at being caught. I couldn't just turn it off, she said through sobs. I couldn't just pretend it didn't happen and go back to normal. What we shared was... It was incredible, Nathan. It was everything I wondered it could be and more. My heart stopped. We agreed. I know what we agreed. But you can't schedule feelings. You can't put a timer on connection. What happened between Darren and me wasn't just physical. It was emotional, too. Emotional! Yes! For the first time in my life, I felt truly alive, truly desired. Not just comfortable and safe, but passionate and wanted and free. Each word was a knife. You felt free. With him. Yes. And with me, your husband of 5 years, you feel what? Trapped. Not trapped, but limited. Predictable. We've become this settled couple who talks about mortgage rates and fertility schedules. When I'm with Darren, I remember what it's like to be desired for who I am, not just as a future mother or life partner. I stared at this woman I'd loved for 8 years. this person I'd planned to grow old with, and realized I didn't know her at all. "So what now?" I asked quietly. "I don't know. I thought one night would be enough, but it wasn't. I think I need more time to figure out what I really want. More time. With him. Maybe. Yes. While you're married to me." "It's complicated, Nathan." "No," I said, standing up. "It's actually very simple. You want to fuck around while keeping me as your safety net. You want your adventure while I wait at home like some pathetic cuck. Don't be crude. Don't be crude. You're the one asking your husband for permission to date other people. It's not dating. It's exploring. It's figuring out who I really am before we bring children into this world. And who are you, Celeste? Because the woman I married wouldn't have asked me to share her with another man." She looked at me with something that might have been pity. "Maybe the woman you married was never really me. Maybe she was just who I thought I had to be." That conversation happened 3 months ago. I'm writing this from a one-bedroom apartment in South Austin, surrounded by moving boxes and the shattered remains of the life I thought I understood. The divorce papers arrived last Tuesday. After that Saturday morning confrontation, Celeste moved in with her sister, temporarily, to get some space and clarity. The temporary stay lasted 2 weeks before she got her own place, a trendy loft downtown, walking distance from Darren's apartment. She'd been planning her exit strategy longer than I realized. Our last real conversation happened when she came to collect her belongings from the house. I watched her pack up 8 years of shared memories like she was cleaning out a storage unit. "I want you to know I never intended for it to happen this way," she said, wrapping our wedding photo in newspaper. "I really thought one night would be enough. But it wasn't. No, it wasn't." She looked up at me, and for a moment I saw a flash of the woman I'd married. "I know you think I'm selfish. I know you think I used you. Didn't you? I loved you, Nathan. I still love you. But I've realized there's a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone. I loved you the way you love family, safely, comfortably, predictably. With Darren, I discovered what it means to be consumed by someone." "So you're saying our entire relationship was a lie?" "Not a lie. Just incomplete. We were so young when we got together. I never had the chance to discover what I actually wanted in a partner versus what I thought I should want." She taped up a box of books, many of which I'd given her for birthdays and anniversaries. "I know this makes me the villain in your story, but staying with you when I felt this way would have been cruel to both of us. You deserve someone who chooses you passionately, not someone who settles for you safely." "Settles," I repeated. That word again. "I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did. You meant it then, and you mean it now." She signed the lease papers for her new place that afternoon. I signed the divorce papers 2 weeks later. The house sold within a month. Apparently, 3-bedroom suburban homes with good schools are in high demand among couples planning families, young couples full of dreams and certainty about their futures. I used to be one of those people. The fertility clinic called last week to reschedule our missed consultation. I had to explain that we wouldn't be needing their services anymore. The receptionist's confused silence spoke volumes. My friends have been supportive in that awkward way people are when they don't know what to say. "You're better off without her," they tell me. "She wasn't worthy of you. You dodged a bullet." But the truth is more complicated than that. I keep replaying that night at Romano's, wondering what would have happened if I'd said no immediately. If I'd stood up, walked out, and filed for divorce right then. Would she have fought for us? Would she have realized what she was throwing away? Or would she have just gone behind my back anyway? Maybe she would have cheated regardless. Maybe the marriage was doomed the moment she started wondering about other possibilities. Maybe giving her permission just gave her a guilt-free way to do what she was always planning to do. Or maybe I'm the idiot who handed his wife to another man and expected her to come back grateful for the experience. I've started therapy, Dr. Chen, recommended by my insurance plan. She asks questions I'm not ready to answer. What did you hope to accomplish by agreeing to her request? What were you afraid would happen if you said no? Do you think your willingness to compromise your boundaries enabled her behavior? I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. What I do know is that Celeste got everything she wanted. She got her exploration, her passion, her freedom from the limited life we'd built together. She got to discover who she really was, without the constraints of marriage, commitment, or consideration for anyone else's feelings. And I got to learn that the woman I loved enough to share with another man never loved me enough to choose me over him. The final divorce decree will be official next month. Celeste kept her original last name when we married, so she doesn't even have the inconvenience of paperwork to remind her I existed. Meanwhile, I'm learning to sleep alone in a bed that's too small for all the space she left behind. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever trust anyone enough to try this again. If I'll ever believe someone who promises they're satisfied with just me. If I'll ever stop feeling like I'm not enough exactly as I am. But mostly, I wonder if I was wrong to give her what she asked for, or if I was wrong to expect her to come back home afterward. Either way, I'm the one sitting alone in a half-empty apartment, wondering where exactly I went wrong in trying to love someone enough to let them go. So tell me, Internet, was I the asshole for enabling my wife's affair? Or was I just the fool who learned too late that some doors once opened can never be closed again? If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life drama. Got a take on the situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from you.